Hello everyone, Cheek here with another Transformers review, and today I'll be reviewing the Transformers Studio Series 86 Leader Class Swoop. And as you can see, obviously it's not just him. We have all the Leader Class Studio Series 86 Dinobots. Sludge, Grimlock, Snarl, and Snarl and Slag, or Slug, as I think they call him now, or whatever. But, yeah, I think they all look pretty cool together. I mean, I know Grimlock looks goofy with that gun right there, and then if you take the gun off, he has a weird gap up there. But, yeah, they look pretty cool in their dino modes together. So Swoop, the last one, but certainly not least, maybe least as far as like complexity for the transformation and all that, but he is really cool. Glad I finally got a hold of him, found him at Target. He was the only one there, and I was like, I gotta pick him up. I also found a Leader Class Springer there as well, which will be in a different review, obviously. But I found two that I've been wanting for a while. Well, him most of all. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and get these guys. Swoop is obviously a pterodactyl. He's pretty simple and very, very blocky, very, very G1 in that regard. You can just see all the pterodactyl stuff. Obviously, this configuration or the way he's up right now is for him to be able to stand, but obviously you can have his feet folded down and wings spread out a bit more, and then have his head up like that to get a more flying pterodactyl look. But obviously there's not too much you can do posability wise for dinosaur mode. That goes with pretty much any not even just Dinobot, but any animal transformer in general. Anyway, the detail on his pterodactyl mode is pretty cool. I do love the Autobot emblems, the silver of his wings. I think these guns are pretty cool. I don't know if the original Swoop had them or not, but I still think it's pretty cool. I do know there's like third-party gap fillers to put in the wings, but I honestly don't care too terribly much about. But I will say these don't necessarily want to stay tabbed into place very well. And then, of course, you can pretty much just see where everything for robot mode is. Like, there's the arms. Obviously, these are the legs and feet. And then his head is in the dino head, which I think is really cool. I like the way they do that for Swoop. And then, of course, he does have blast effect port right there. And I do like that detail for the beak. And, yeah, that's pretty much about it for his pterodactyl mode. And here we have Swoop in his robot mode, and he is pretty cool. I wouldn't say he's the most imposing Dinobot, but he is definitely cool. I like the way the wings fold up for his robot mode. You can store his swords on the back of the wings if you so desire. For robot mode, you can also plug one of his swords into his back if you want. You can also have him hold the guns if you like, but I still think it's cool to have him on the wings to be like missile pods and all that. And then, of course, he can hold his swords. I don't know exactly how they compare. I'm sure they're fairly accurate to the original G1 swords, assuming he had two swords. I know there's some third-party upgrade kits that are supposed to give him better swords, but I'm not sure exactly what the difference is. I haven't looked too closely at him because I think he's pretty much good as is. I think there's only like 1 or 2 of the Dinobots, where I think I might want to get an upgrade kit, but for the most part, I think they did a bang-up job on these guys. So let's go ahead and take off his swords, and let's take a closer look at that noggin of his. And he's kind of stoic expression, but I love the silver on the face, blue for the eyes. It looks like there's a little bit of black around the edges of his eyes, so they might be black painted with some blue. And then obviously that's part of the pterodactyl head. Not too much detail on the back. Obviously pretty much most of this detail, there's not really much that's revealed going into robot mode, except for this inner workings of his back, which I think looks pretty cool. Obviously it's not painted, it's just bare blue plastic, but I think that he does a pretty good job. Doesn't have a whole lot of kibble. And then articulation, obviously the head is on the ball joint. He can look all the way down because obviously that's part of transformation. It does tab into place a little bit, like thunks into place, but since it doesn't really look too awkward, you can bend it down so you can look a lot further down than most would be able to. He doesn't get too much wibbly wobbly, but with having that top of a crest or mohawk like that, does look like a lot more than most. But you can turn and get a pretty good angle there. Arms can go out that far. Bicep rotation. You can get about a 90-degree bend at the elbow. Wrist rotation. Waist swivel, although this does get in the way, but if you lift that up just a little bit, you can get just a little bit better range of motion. Legs can go forward that far on a bit of a ratchet, kind of a soft ratchet. Then can go back that far. Thigh rotation on very tight mushroom peg. And then of course over 90-degree bend at the knee, but a lot of that due to transformation on a light ratchet as well. And then ankle tiltage. I will say one gripe that I do have about the feet though is that they don't necessarily, they do kind of lock into position, but the heel, if it does give out at all, it's harder to support the main robot. But he does stand pretty well, even in spite of that little bit of a joint that's a bit loose. But yeah, I guess it's about time to go ahead and bring in the rest of the Dinobots. Oh boy, so here we have all 5 of them together in their robot modes, and they look so cool. I will say that that Snarl is still my favorite mold-wise, and durability holding up-wise. I mean, granted, he's not the oldest one. I do believe it was Grimlock, then Sludge. It's either Grimlock, Snarl. It's either Grimlock, Slag, and then Sludge, or it's either Grimlock, Sludge, Snarl. Not Snarl, Slag. Snarl is my most recent one before Swoop. But Snarl, I think, is the best one overall. I do love the look of Grimlock in his robot mode. Swoop is also pretty cool, but I think if I have to rank them as far as like overall in this, I think it'd be Snarl, then Grimlock, Swoop, Slag, and then Sludge. I do love the way Sludge looks, but Sludge is he's pretty loose. Slag is also pretty loose, but Grimlock, Swoop, and Snarl are in pretty good shape in that regard. But overall, design-wise, not having a bunch of gaps, stuff like that, I'd say Snarl's the best. Swoop does have a little bit of gaps on the wings, but like I said, I don't really care too much about that. Well, yeah, so that's a little bit of a long-winded explanation and ranking of the Dinobots, the leader class Dinobots. What was it? When did I put out that review of Grimlock? It was probably a good couple years ago now. I think it's been a good few years since they first released the first Studio Series 86 Grimlock. Hold the phone, everybody! I just realized something. I feel really silly for not realizing it earlier. Why, oh why, did Swoop come with 2 swords? Turns out, after doing just a little bit of research of G1 Grimlock and G1 Swoop, he only came with 1 sword. This sword, which honestly seems more appropriately sized for him, and this was to give Grimlock his G1 styled sword. So he finally gets a sword. Grimlock, yes, he finally got it. Yes, good on Grimlock. Good on Hasbro for finally giving him his sword. Granted, you have to get all the Dinobots, or at least him and Swoop, if you want him to have his sword. And I'm sure people already got third-party versions, but that's pretty cool. I don't know if all the other Dinobots had swords, but if they didn't, it looks like Slag and Sludge didn't have swords. But Snarl, Grimlock, and Swoop, these guys all have swords. Okay, yeah, that's about it. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the Transformers Studio Series 86 Leader Class Swoop. And if you like this review and you'd like to see more, please click that like and subscribe button to see more. Until next time, have a good one, everyone.